Geauga, and this is where our new campus will go. So if you don't know anything about the site, as many times as I've looked at it, it looks like just a big flat field, but really it's a really large hill. From this point to this point, there's a 25-foot incline, and from the fairgrounds over to the woods, there's about a 15-foot incline. So it's a large hill that it doesn't look like a hill when you look at it. But we're able to take advantage of some of that and terrace some of this into the hillside. So I'll explain a little bit of that as we go through. But we're looking at 3 points of entry to the building. So an elementary school entrance, a middle and high school entrance, and then an entrance for bus drop-off. And to get to the campus currently, parents, students, and staff would come down the road, go to the left, and come around, and you drop your kids off here, they go into their entrance, you come back around, and you go out. Student, staff, and visitor parking would be up here, and then you access the front of the building. Buses would come straight down, make a turnaround, drop the kids off, and go back out this way. So the way the building's set up is we have a preschool and kindergarten wing on this side, and then elementary school, which would be grades 1 through 4 in this wing, middle school, grades 5 through 8 in this wing, high school, grades 9 through 12 here, and then our career tech component, which right now is planned to be an allied healthcare and medium to heavy truck technician program. And then if we're able to develop through community partnerships or other things, this little grade area could be potential expansion in the future for a community center or other types of ventures. So a 3D graphic representation. This is the first rendering of what this could look like. So again, the early childhood or preschool kindergarten wing, the elementary, the middle, the high school. All these wings are designed to lock down so that they can be self-sufficient if they need to, but they can open to the shared spaces if the teachers or the kids need to access that space. So in the event of an emergency, everything can be locked down at the wings, and then the only thing that can get into these wings are people that are let in, and we've got exit points at the ends if we needed to evacuate kids quickly. So designed with safety in mind, and also to be able to isolate any threats that we would see in the building. Some of the exterior features, we're trying to keep the aesthetic of the community in mind. So the lighter brick that kind of builds up from the ground into the more traditional red brick, and then the infill of some of the darker red with sloped roofing. So we're trying to keep the outside with a more traditional look, while the inside will have some very contemporary components that will allow us the flexibility to do our instructional model that we want to put on. So the building really has 3 levels. There are only 2 stories for any wing, but there are 3 levels because of the hillside. So this is the first level, and it's into these lines are the hillside. So if you think the career tech component, and then we've got the first floor of the high school wing, which leads to our high school competition gym, and then our auditorium with our kitchen and our student dining area, and then some auxiliary spaces. We've got some music classes out here, some auxiliary spaces, a playground out front for the middle school kids. So that's the first level. Second level, you'll see it'll populate on top of the hill. So that's where we'll incorporate the parking lot, and then the entrances for middle and high school, for elementary. The entrance for the bus would be on the first level, so that's down here. So they would enter on the first level, come either up the elevator or up the stairs to get to their wing. Because on the second level, you have the second floor of the high school wing, which meets the first floor of the middle school wing, and then all the administrative offices for middle and high school, a middle school and elementary school gym, administrative offices for the elementary school. These are your preschool kindergarten classes. That's a 1-level wing, and this is the first floor of the elementary school. Now, being able to terrace in that hill gives us the ability to have a really cool effect with the gym. So when students walk in or community walks in, you've got this little concourse, and And so when you walk in from these entrances, you're looking down into the gym. And if you walk in from the bus entrance, you're walking in at court level. So if I come in this door, this is my view looking down into the gym. Gives you more of an arena feel, whereas if I came in the other way, I'd be down here. So a really nice feel, and it wraps around this side, so you've got a nice little concourse. If I walk down the hallway, I can see down into the student dining area. This is the back wall of the auditorium. In order to conserve some square footage, we're designing an auditorium that expands. So as it is, would have about 300 fixed seats, but we can expand back to 650 by pushing the wall back. And we still have some room in the front for congregation, for concession areas, whatever we need. But like I said, when we need student dining, we don't need 650 seats in the auditorium. When we need 650 seats in the auditorium, we don't need student dining. So it's a way for us to save some square footage and save some money as we build the building. So then we go to the third floor of the facility, which would be the second floor of the middle school and the second floor of the elementary school. So the only two things on that third level are the second floor of those two wings. So that's why it's 3 levels, but 2 stories throughout that project. So if you're looking from a side view coming onto the building, you can see the difference in elevation, where it's 15 feet higher at one end than at the other. So if you walk into this main entry, this is where you look down into the gym, and if you come in from this side, you're at court level. So that's kind of the outside and the layout of the building. The inside, we wanted to design for maximum flexibility. So at first glance, you look at this and you think, we can do classrooms the way we're doing them now. It's a very traditional setup. But everything you see in gray would be an operable component. So in order to increase collaboration, communication, working together, we could remove a lot of those walls, open up this space. Now the corridors become learning space. All the classrooms become learning space. These rooms become bigger space for kids to get together, to work on projects, to do all the things we want them to do to help push those 5 C's at the same time as they're learning their content. So these are just some other views of what that could look like from a top down. So these are your classrooms, and this is what we are referring to as an extended learning area, or a place where they can do their performance assessments or work on some of their project-based lessons. So we can remove a wall and then have a really big space, or we can set it up for a presentation. If you look from an eye level, this would be me walking into that extended learning area, and then this without the wall. This would be that extended learning area again, just another view. And whatever we have on the first level, we also have on the second level. So you see lots of nice big windows, lots of natural light in, nice views for the kids, lots of things that are going to help make this the best learning environment possible for us. If we look just strictly from a classroom point of view, so like I said, I can have those regular classroom set up, or I can remove that wall. Now I have a double classroom. If they have these sliding, folding doors, we can open up to the corridor. So now we can use all of these things for positive learning space. This is a view from inside a classroom, and then if we remove the wall, and then from the corridor. And so that's kind of where we are at this point, and we have had a lot of great partnership dialogue. Kent State Geauga is at the table with us at every core team meeting we have. We're working through a lot of things. Hopefully through our partner dialogue, there are a lot more sharing opportunities that come as a result of this. This is what we passed our bond issue in May for, and this is what we're going to deliver to the community. At the same time, we know that giving kids some other creative outlets, such as athletics, are also important. So we do have a foundation, the Berkshire Education Foundation, that is going to start a capital campaign, and we could thank the Eprick family and Great Lakes Cheese for making the initial $2 million donation to that, which will allow us to put in a new football, soccer field, stadium, which will get us started. And we have some additional funding that we want to raise to bring baseball and softball and potentially a field house to to that area, so that not only do we have state-of-the-art educational facilities, but then we also have state-of-the-art athletic facilities, which can in turn be used in the community with the younger kids, with the Pee-wee sports, with everything that we need to do together in the community. So if anyone's interested in learning more about that, I'm available. John Manfredi is available. John is our point person for the Education Foundation, and we will start getting word out here soon about how we work through that capital campaign, and if anyone wants their name on a field or a field house or anything to that nature. But if anyone has any questions about the school project, the partnerships, or any of the other things, I would open the floor to questions at this time. Yes?
Do you have a timeline when it'll be finished and when students will actually be attending there?
So the question was, do we have a timeline on when the project will be finished and when students will be attending? Yes, we do. Our project timeline is that we open the building for students in August of 2021. So our current freshmen will be seniors. So the students who are currently freshmen will start their senior year in the new facilities. All right, if there are no other questions, I'll turn it back over to Mr. Eprick.
John, I'd like to thank you for your leadership here at Berkshire, and on behalf of everyone here at GGP, I just wanted to present you with a little maple syrup, our finest from Burton.
Thank you.
You know, I don't know that there's been this much excitement in Burton since the late 60s when they decided to change the name of the school from the Burton Maple Leafs to the Berkshire Badgers. And I actually was part of that. That's how long ago that was. Well, now it's my pleasure to introduce our keynote speaker, Youngstown State University President Jim Tressel. President Tressel became the 9th president of Youngstown State University in July 2014 and has been busy moving the campus forward on many fronts ever since. Under President Tressel's leadership, enrollment increased for the first time in 5 years, and the university attracted its most academically accomplished freshman class ever. Prior to becoming YSU president, Tressel was executive vice president for student success at the University of Akron, where he was charged with restructuring and leading the efforts of a newly created division dedicated to academic and career success of the students. A native of Northeast Ohio, Tressel graduated from Berea High School in suburban Cleveland in 1971. He earned a bachelor's degree of education from Baldwin Wallace in 1975 and a master's degree of education from the University of Akron in 1977, I'm sorry. He also holds an honorary degree from Youngstown State University in 2001 and Baldwin Wallace in 2003. He first came to YSU in 1986 as head football coach, and within 2 seasons, the Penguins were in the NCAA playoffs. He was named Executive Director of Intercollegiate Athletics in 1994. In his 15-year tenure as a head football coach, Tressel's teams amass a record of 135 wins, 52 losses, and 2 ties. And he appeared in the playoffs 10 times and won 4 national championships. Tressel left YSU in 2001 to become head football coach of The Ohio State University. From 2001 to 2010, he guided the Buckeyes to the 2002 National Championship, 6 Big Ten championships, 9 bowl appearances, and 7 10-win seasons, and an 8-1 record against the team up north. His record at Ohio State was 94-21, and prior to YSU, he was the assistant football coach at Ohio State, Syracuse University, Miami University of Ohio, and University of Akron. In all of his coaching posts, Tressel also taught in the classroom to remain engaged with the student body. That's very incredible. So please, let's welcome President Tressel.
Thanks so much, John. And John Stoddard, congratulations for what's going on there. I mean, that's extraordinary, and this county can be so proud of your leadership and everything that's going on in the education sector. And Dr. Spalsbury, one of the finest educators I have ever been around in my entire life, and this is my 44th year in higher education. I know I look much younger than that. But Angela is just one of those special educators, special leaders. And to see she and her team there at Kent State Geauga being honored today, it's awesome. And she was our department chair in mathematics, and extraordinary things go on in our mathematics department at Youngstown State. She was a tremendous leader and a great recruiter. She recruited one of, well, our only Rhodes Scholar at Youngstown State University. Ashley Orr was a mathematics, economics double major, and she became a Rhodes Scholar, I guess, about 3 or 4 years ago. And we became only the 4th public university in Ohio that ever had a Rhodes Scholar. Rhodes Scholarships are few and far between, and she recruited Ashley and developed her, and you'd be happy to know that Lexi Rager, who you recruited about 5 years ago, just won a national competition amongst honors college mathematics students in the entire country this past year, and the excellence that she left that department with, the expectations and so forth, are extraordinary, and so we appreciate it. I cried when she left. I mean, when she told me she was coming here, I was like, oh, I can't believe it. It was like when John Conroy graduated from Ohio State, we couldn't make it anymore without John, or when John Longano's out here somewhere, when he graduated from YSU, you know, our offensive lines were never the same when you guys left. But I told Angela, I said, see those 2 skinny guys there? Believe it or not, they were like 320 pounds, and now you can't even see them. But being around good people, and I've had the opportunity to keep in touch with Angela, and I remember about a year ago, she called up, and you know, there's always things going on in college campuses that you talk about with your peers. Bev Warren is one of my favorite people in the whole world at Kent State, and Angela called up, and there are a lot of things happening on campuses, and she said, you know, this whole freedom of speech discussion and all the things going on, and she said to me, you know, you do believe in free speech? And I said, of course. And she said, well, May 1st, next year, you're going to give one. I said, okay, you know, so that's how I arrived here, just full disclosure. I said, well, who am I giving this free speech to? And she said, to the Geauga Growth Partnership. I said, well, gosh, that's awesome. I mean, Geauga County, I love Geauga County. I was born in Lake County and spent most of my young life in Cuyahoga County, and a lot of time in Summit County, and a lot of time in Mahoning County, and had known a lot of people. I have some Baldwin Wallace folks out here that went to school with, and I said, you know, I would love to be in Geauga County. In fact, I saw one of your board members listed, Jim Patterson. I don't know if Jim's here today, but, oh, there he is. Jim is like one of the best people in the world. He's one of the best human beings in the world. And if I didn't have to hustle back for a meeting with some deans and my new provost, I'd come over and get some apples or something, you know. But so to have a chance to be back here, and now Chris Connor is a businessman here in Geauga County, and, you know, Chris, the places that I've grown to adore, Ohio State, he's been an impact there. The University of Akron, he was an impact there. And Greater Cleveland, the impact that he and his company have made there. And so I told Angela to come back to Geauga County. That's awesome. I'm happy to do it. And when people want to get together and talk about growth, and they want to talk about it with a partnership mentality, I mean, that's what life is all about. That's what I've spent 44 years trying to do, is trying to see if we could become the best team, the best group that we could possibly be. So I said, you know, that would be a lot of fun. Didn't know I was going to get the bonus of seeing this prime education initiative. I had heard a lot down in the state legislature about, wouldn't it be cool if on a lot of the community college campuses where there's space, or a lot of our regional campuses where there's space, if we could just start integrating the education all the way through. I remember talking to the last administration and saying, you know, from my vantage point, we're working in a little bit of silos. We've got our pre-K programs and so forth going on that are so critical. We've got our K through 12 programs going on, and we've got our community college programs, our regional campus programs, kind of a little bit of silos, and then our higher ed. It just doesn't seem to make sense to me. And my people at YSU get so tired of all my football analogies. Whenever we have discussions, my faculty hates it when I say, well, let me tell you, like it was in football. But I was saying to the people at the state legislator area, you know, it would be like if our offense was in a silo and they weren't in conjunction and in collaboration, coordination with our defense, or not with our special teams, or if we all practiced on different fields or whatever, yet we still have the same goal. We've got to start doing things together. We've got to get together with business and industry, find out what it is they need, find out what we're going to have to do to compete in this world. This world is so much more competitive than it was when I started 44 years ago. It truly is a global competition. We just were down at Oak Ridge National Laboratories, which is a Department of Energy focused, but Department of Defense is very involved, and we have a very upscale additive manufacturing. You're talking about the 3D printing and all that kind of thing. And so we were just down with them a week or so ago, talking about how are we going to remain competitive as a nation in security, defense, business. And it was so much fun watching the way that they were collaborating. They had all these businesses in a common area trying to solve problems together. All these educational institutions, what is it that we need to train and so forth. But what the best part of it was is they started their staff meetings at 5:30 a.m. Now, I tried that at YSU when I became president, and it lasted like 2 days. It didn't go over that well. But they started their staff meetings at 5:30 a.m. with the goal in mind that we as a nation need to innovate faster than the rest of the world can copy. Because that's what goes on. Can we innovate faster than the rest of the world can copy? Can we stay ahead for the greater good of the whole world? And it was exciting to see the collaborative spirit amongst the business and industry and the partnerships as described with this group. And so anytime you have an opportunity to get with people who are interested in working together, who are excited about the future, who are doing things that they'll probably never get to see. A lot of us won't get to see the extraordinary results of the people 25 years from now that will benefit from us getting together and trying to get better, trying to compete, trying to meet the needs of the future. And that's when Angela or might have been Marcia Owen been talking with my office. Is that who it? Someone, they said, "What's the title of your speech?" I said, "I don't know. I don't have any speeches. I mean, I don't have time to have speeches." They said, "Well, we need a title." And all I could think of was a little phrase that we talked about often throughout the course of time, which was Macte Virtute. You remember what that means, John? What's it mean? Increase your excellence. That's right. It's a Latin phrase. How many of you took Latin? Wow, wow. It's a Latin phrase. It's an imperative statement. How many of you took English? It's a command. And it means increase your excellence every day. Increase your merit. If we can do that, we've got a chance. So how are we going to go about doing that? When I first became the president of YSU, the Board of Trustees told me that they were sending me to New President's School. I said, "Man, you just hired me and you don't think that I'm ready for this?" And they said, "Well, yeah, you're going to New President's School at Harvard." I thought, well. So I went to Harvard for 6 days with 50 other new presidents in the country. And it was enlightening. I learned a lot. Probably could have been 3 days because I was sitting there thinking of all the things I had to do back where I was heading. But one of the things that really stuck out in my mind, which they thought was really important to think about in higher education, was that until you have the right plan, your plan becomes the budget. You're always just fighting over the budget. You're always trying to battle over the budget. And I'm excited about our new administration in Ohio, because what I've noticed is it isn't just a discussion about the budget, it's a discussion about what's the plan. What's the plan for our youth? What's the plan for education and innovation? What's the plan for our infrastructure? Let's get the plan right, and then we'll allocate our budget. But if we don't have our plan, then we'll just haggle over the budget. And that really made a lot of sense to me, because I had been at the University of Akron for 2 years, and it just seemed like every discussion revolved around the budget and not the plan. And as we think about how we can increase our excellence, I think it begins with, well, what's the plan? What's the vision? What's the overarching goals that we're seeking? And that's what we tried to do with our football programs over the years. Of course, we knew we needed to win games and graduate players and this and that, but what was the overarching vision and plan for that growth? So we used to always talk about, there were a couple steps that we had to take. And the first one was to create that plan, to set those goals, to have that vision. And in order to do that, we need good leadership. And that's the beauty of this room. Obviously, this is the leaders in the county who are coming together to help crystallize that plan and then go out and execute it. And so we always wanted to